All right, I'm live. Welcome back, Crime Stoppers. Wow, is it fun lately? Past fun. And I'm looking like a shaggy dog here because I took a shower and now my hair is all wet. Anyway, and you'll see as the time goes by, it goes up. And look, I'm doing the comb over thing to get it out of my hair or get it out of my eyes. Anyway, so much to talk about. Where do you start? People are seeming okay. First thing to say is be of good cheer. Things are good. Things are the good guys, and ain't no good guys in this fight, but the guys that are good, the guys that are under the good guys, and I'm going to spell guys Guise, as in the when you put a guys on, when you put a costume on, the good guys, right? It's the same bird, my friends. And they're working oh so well to control the narrative and so forth. And they use unwilling, deceived, or actually willing, deceived dupes. But many of the members of the Black community have figured out that their organization was that whole Black Lives Matter thing was co-opted by white guys that are spray painting and breaking bricks and destroying the neighborhoods that the Black people have to live in. They moved into those neighborhoods and raised a ruckus, as it were. And the very same mayors that were arresting people for opening their businesses and, going to the beach and so forth, sending SWAT teams out after people that wanted to, open their barbershop or their restaurant or whatever the fuck it was, did nothing when these people were rioting and looting. And what did they do? They let the prisoners out of the prisons because of COVID-19, because it wasn't safe for them to stay inside the prisons, and basically told them, go and loot and riot and so forth. Go ye forth and loot and riot, and you're in a safe zone. We'll have you out the next night. Don't worry, you're not going back. And whatever you take, you can keep. And the looter should have been shot on sight. Should have been shot on sight. That's my point of view. But apparently, I'm crazy because that's crazy talk. You can't be shooting looters and rioters that are smashing windows. And understand, speaking of smashing windows, Keynesian economics says that smashing windows is a good thing and it stimulates the economy because all those windows are going to have to be replaced. And then all the labor and so forth, that's fucking complete bullshit, but that's Keynesian economics right there. The money could have been better spent on other things. I don't know, like feeding the homeless or building new stuff instead of having to repair old stuff, but fine. They're going to sop up millions and millions and millions of dollars that way because many of the cities have burned. I'll get to Seattle in a moment. These soy boys ran out of food. Oh, and what's the first fucking thing they do is build a wall around their what do you call it? Their free zone, their Chaz zone. Oh my God, it just never ends. Come on, you gotta be of good cheer. Like I said, just be of good cheer. We're winning. You couldn't go round up Antifa preemptively and say, if we didn't round them up, the cities would burn. No, now you see the cities burnt because Antifa went out there and many other groups. You can't just blame Antifa, but I mean, it's Antifa, right? It's the same. Go read your history. Like I said, go read your history in Germany. Go read your history in the Bolshevik Revolution. This is what they're trying to do. This is insurrection. This is not peaceful protest. This is trying to get rid of Trump by any means. That's what this is. And the Democrat states very, very soon are not going to be Democrat anymore. I understand we're going to start having Trump rallies again here in a week or so. What's the date? Today is as I make this is the 11th. What is this? Is it 11 June? It's the 11th day of June. I don't know what day it is. Right. This whole lockdown affected me not at all. I stay home and teach mathematics. That's what I do. But so going out and giving them something to do. See, this is the idea. I wrote this paper a long time ago. It was a white paper Anyway, I wrote this paper a long time ago, and basically what that white paper said was, stay the fuck home. Just stay home. Quit paying your bills, right? Have internet and get rid of your cable. Stop buying gas. I mean, just stop. That's a general strike. That gets their attention, right? They know how to deal with rioting. They don't know how to deal with peaceful protests. They don't know how to deal with strikes, but they know how to deal with rioting. And the idea of this is that, yeah, now you get all kind of martial law. You're going to get draconian laws to respond to this. And now they're talking about disbanding police forces in neighborhoods that need it the most. Get rid of these guys. It's annoying to me. I'm sorry. And this too. Ugh. I'll put this here though. That's the funnest thing ever. It's like 100,000 people, and now they're walking that back. They're walking it back by like 55,000. They're saying that 55,000 of those people that they attributed to COVID-19, actually, it wasn't COVID-19. Average age in America, your life expectancy, 78. Average age of a person that dies from COVID-19, over 80. As countries, like I said, like in Japan that didn't lock down, take a look at their numbers. Countries like India that didn't lock down, that have way more population. What's the difference? Hydroxychloroquine. Also vitamin D and vitamin C. It looks, and I've done videos about this, and other people have now done videos about this. If you have high levels of vitamin D and high levels of vitamin C, you're immune. I mean, there are no cases of people that have high levels of vitamin D and high levels of vitamin C showing up and getting sick from this. You're immune from it. Further, they have found that it's just painful. Asymptomatic carriers. See, and these are lovely words that they taught you. They always give you language when they give you a crisis. So anyway, asymptomatic carriers don't seem to be, I mean, it's very rare. The WHO has come out numerous times now. I mean, they've walked back everything and said that if you're an asymptomatic, if you don't have any symptoms, well, lo and behold, you probably aren't going to spread the disease. You probably aren't going to make other people sick because you're an asymptomatic carrier, and asymptomatic carriers, yeah, you tested positive for it. But and that's the other, 85% of people that have this thing or tested positive didn't even know they have it. That's how deadly this thing is. Okay, so that has pretty much all gone out the window. There's going to be Trump rallies again. States like Georgia that have been opened up since April haven't seen any huge amounts of spike, right? They tried to say that, there's 19,000 new cases because of the rioting. Yeah, right, because they got the test results back the same day, and they know this, right? See, this is the other thing. The media lies and lies and lies, and now their lies are so fucking blatant that even the dumbest brain-dead sheep are starting to go, wait a minute, this does not make sense, from behind their mask, with their eyes glazed. I mean, it's just pathetic, just sad. These people, no evidence that this disease was ever going to be a pandemic. I mean, how do you have a pandemic with a disease that's 99%? I mean, basically, you can call them all pandemics because you know what? There's rhinovirus everywhere. There's coronavirus everywhere. There's all manner of virus everywhere all the time. You're exposed to it every fucking day and you don't get sick. Why? Because you have this thing called an immune system. You live in a soup of bacteria and virus everywhere. If you guys have pets, oh my God. Right? And you don't get sick. You let the pets with your babies and your dogs and so forth. Your dog drinks out of the toilet and licks its ass and licks your baby, and your baby is fine. In fact, you want that because you want the baby's immune system to increase. You want your baby playing in the dirt because that's what builds the immune system. You don't want a nation of people that die from coronavirus. Anyway, no evidence that there's going to be that there was ever any evidence that wearing a mask would somehow slow it down. In fact, it's the opposite. What you wind up doing is putting all that bacteria on your mask and virus and God knows, sputum and so forth. And then lovely. And you keep taking it on and off. And now they're saying that, yeah, just wearing a cloth mask didn't work. Well, duh. Really? Where'd you park the fucking squad car? No, wearing a diaper over your face isn't going to, or pulling your shirt up. I literally saw at Costco, this guy didn't have a mask, and they're saying, "Well, just put your shirt up over your face," right? Like fucking Beavis and Butthead, or what's the guy from oh, come on, the nerd from the movie, from the TV show, I guess. See, every time I make a video, I turn the camera on, and then there's a thing that goes on in your brain that makes it so that you don't retrieve information easily because you're actually under stress. I learned to work through it because I used to have a radio show. But anyway, oh, come on, it was somebody type it. It was a famous show, The Nerds, and the head nerd, he's always spraying stuff and putting his shirt up and so on. Anyway, they've turned you into that guy. It's just sad and awesome to watch the mind control, because they know how the mind works. And see, here's the other thing, my friends. Now that they've been proven, I mean, we just had snow over the last 3 days. I have friends in Idaho, Montana, Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming that woke up to like a foot of snow or 2 feet of snow. Some places like 2 feet of snow on the ground. So the joke is, if you think their virus models were bad, you should see their climate models, or the other way around. If you thought their climate models were bad, you should see their virus models. Complete bullshit. The mask wearers believe in climate change. I guarantee you that if they've got a mask on, they're worried about climate change too. Man-made climate change. There is climate change. Make no mistake, there's climate change. The climate changes constantly because of that thing called the sun. And that's a whole other video, and I can get into that, and I'll get in all kind of trouble already, probably here on the tube. Get over to BitChute. Get over to BitChute and enjoy yourselves there instead of here. This is the place for music videos. I love watching, The Voice and other places, other shows where people are singing opera and so forth. And then, of course, all the shows like it's in Ukraine and all over the world that you can watch on YouTube. But this is not going to be the place to get news. This is not going to be the place to get any kind of alternative anything. This is just not the place. But once again, I have to say, you need to understand that the things are peachy, my friends. Things are going well, better than expected, actually, because these Antifa guys have shown true colors. They've been declared a terrorist organization. I can tell you that when you run afoul of the United States, and if you understand some basic law, nation states have the right to defend themselves, and organizations that threaten those nation states, yeah, they're going to be taken down en masse. But they couldn't take them down preemptively. Like I said, that would be fascist. That would be, like, oh, these people are planning this and this. And, well, you can't prove it, right? They could have planned it all out. And, how many times have I put stuff down on paper? I'm going to do this, and then never got around to it. Same thing with the Antifa guys. They could have put all this stuff down on paper and, had their meetings and so forth, but you can't arrest them for just thinking about it. But once they do it, and they've done it in spades, have they not? They've been burning shit and going into safe zones, right, where they get released the next day. So, of course, the next day they're back to burn more shit and loot more stuff. They didn't get busted yesterday. Why should they get worried about being busted today? These same fucking Democrats. And see, even the Democrats are sick of the Democrats, but many people are moving out of that party, moving to the Republican side, because that's all right? Oh, well, it's the two birds of the same. I don't like this wing, so now I'm going to go over to this wing. And it's the Republicans that are going to be taking over in mass. They absolutely, if you don't think that it's going to be a landslide in November, think again. Unless they have cheating, but most places, and that was the whole point. The Dem panic is going on. That was the whole point of the mail-in ballots, because you can cheat easily with the mail-in ballots. The NSA and so forth, and other organizations also did a lot to make it so that it's going to be difficult to cheat in November. So they had to pull out some stops. Now, understand also, if you're playing a chess game, you need to take out the pawns, and so the pawns have exposed themselves and are now able to be taken out. But if you thought the rioting was bad just because of some trumped up bullshit race issue, because of, they fucking stick you inside, scare you, get you rats in a cage. We know that rats in a cage in a small space, they don't do well. It's the same thing with the humans. If you stick them in a cage for too long inside and don't let them out, let them no recreation, no way to blow off steam, what do you see? You see the suicides going up. You see domestic violence going up, both male and females beating on each other because they can't live in a small space together peacefully. Wars are started, my friends. It's a famous quote. Wars are started because men cannot sit quietly in empty rooms. That is a great quote. But the idea is that the average person can't do it, and they know this. So what do? They put a mask on you, make it so that you can't leave your house, or that if you do leave your house, you're subject to being harassed by police officers and so forth. So a lot of people are scared to leave their house, not because of the virus, but because they were worried that they're going to have interfaces with policy enforcers with badges on and IQ caps. who are now getting disbanded and defunded and so forth, or the funds are being moved from here to there. So what are the Democrats doing, right? First, they kill off the old folks. That's billions of dollars that they save, 20,000 people in old folks' homes. I mean, just do the math, $10,000 a month on Medicaid to take care of some of these seniors, and then multiply that by 12. And then multiply that by 1,000, then multiply that by 10,000. And it's just, and then year after year after year, this is how much money they're saving. Now, these same shit-run Democrat states that couldn't steal this, just tax and rob their people to death, shuffle the money to their friends and family and so forth. And now, they can't keep the libraries open. They can't basically pay teachers. They can't anything. And now they're defunding the police on top of everything else. Now, there's a bunch of people. I used to have a piece of property and the signs, and other people in the same area had signs. We don't call the police, right? You trespass over here, you poach over here. We ain't calling the cops, right? And I know more than a few people that, right? They have a picture of whether a weapon they own, and it's like, we don't call the police. So those people, that's not going to be a problem, right? Having police defunded, right? There's a bunch of people that they walk tall and, carry a big stick. And aren't worried about it. Dare ya is basically their attitude. But there's a bunch of people, and that not everybody's going to be like that. And do you want a society that's like that, or do you want a peaceable society where women can walk around and do what the hell they want without having to worry about being molested, and old folks can walk around without, right? And I've seen that. I remember in San Francisco way back in the day, this is the 90s, before everything went to complete shit the way it is now, where some of these panhandlers were getting aggressive with an old couple. And I just stepped up and I was like, but see, they knew each other. It's apparent that they were all in the same neighborhood. I was the stranger here, and that the old folks and the panhandlers were familiar. Let's just put it this way. And, like they'd seen each other before, I could tell. But anyway, I just told him, like, back the fuck up, dude. Or what are you going to do about it? And I just looked at him. And he backed the fuck up because he's a scrawny, small pant. But these old people were, we're talking like on canes type old people, right? We're not talking about, and he was hitting them up for money. And like I said, getting aggressive about it. I'm sure it's gotten worse since then. But the police, do they handle that? Are they around for every fucking thing? Or they are supposed to be there, right? They'll stop and frisk you. Make no mistake about that. But are they there to keep law and order, or are they there to enforce policy? It's become very clear that they are just policy enforcers. They didn't even protect downtown Manhattan. Meantime, they were being sent out. SWAT teams were being sent out to barbershops and shit like that when they were, please, people, if you don't think that people have come to the conclusion that we've got some serious problems and issues in this nation that need addressing, you're mistaken. But at the same time, understand, we're going to come out the other side of this smelling like roses. They're already making rumblings about all those secreted patents. And my family has a couple of those patents. They're not going to be of use anymore because they were made for specific engines in the 1950s and 60s. But carburetors that got massive gas mileage, right? They wouldn't even give us that, right? Your car should be getting 100 miles per gallon, period. At minimum, you should be getting 100 miles a gallon out of gasoline is, if you understand how much energy is in gasoline, it's a very efficient fuel, actually. But the engines that burn that gasoline are bullshit. Complete bullshit. And we've had better patents, better carburation, where you don't aspirate, but you vaporize. And the thing runs for miles and miles more than what we have now for fucking decades. And it's all been buried because of national security. There's patents for medicine. There's patents for quote unquote free energy. There's all manner of patents out there for devices that, turn water into fuel. All kinds of shit that has been buried under the guise of national threat to corporations that are controlled by the deep state. Oil drillers and frackers and people that fuck up the environment and give us all kind of shit products that absolutely are harmful, not beneficial whatsoever. But that's what we got, so that's what we use. You see the difference now when they did the quarantines in the air quality when you stop running those cars that are supposed to have all these devices on them that clean the fuel or clean the exhaust before it comes out. But no, actually not, because when all the cars stopped on the freeways in LA, it took about 4 days, but the air quality changed, right? Here in Hawaii, we have shut everything down. You go to the beach now, and it smells like the ocean. There were beaches that you used to be able to go to on Maui. It didn't smell like the ocean. It fucking smelled like suntan lotion. And if you think that all that suntan lotion in the sun, in the water, and on the reefs was beneficial, I think you should think again. So anyway, our reefs are coming back in just a short amount of time. It's been a couple of months. It's only been a couple of months. It's amazing what you can do. People are starting to figure out. Wait, and in this state, I have my issues with this state, but at the same time, Hawaii was never. Do you see anything on the news about rioting in Hawaii? Do you see anything about us burning down our own fucking stores? No, you see none of that, because we have this thing in Hawaii called community, right? We know each other, especially on this island. I'm on the island of Maui. People on Maui know people on Maui, right? We know each other. We went to school together, right? There's only so many high schools, only 5 high schools. We played football against each other. We played basketball against each other. We know each other. We know each other's kids. We know, right? Ain't nobody burning down businesses on Maui. It's just not happening, because we know the people that own those businesses. Some of those businesses have been here for generations, right? Well, 2 generations, right? Because we're a pretty new state. And I use the term loosely. This is the conquered kingdom of Hawaii. And there's a lot of people going, wait a minute, we should, now that the tourists are gone, maybe, because we have all these businesses that have come to, our 24-hour fitness just announced that they're going to close. Many other, some businesses that have been open for quite some time, on Oahu, Grace's Drive-In, that makes me so sad. There's a couple of places that, used to be good local food. They closed. They couldn't make it. They didn't own the property that they were on, so they were paying rent. And when you got nobody coming to your store, you can't make your rent. But the idea being is that a lot of places in Hawaii were absolutely dependent on tourists. And now we don't have any tourists. So now they're starting to rethink, was it a good idea to have your whole economy hitched to one pony? Because we got rid of ag, right? Our sugar plantations are gone. Our pineapple plantations are gone. We should be growing hemp here like crazy. We should be growing hemp. We have a 24/7, 12-month growing season. You can grow hemp all the time. Hemp seed. I've made videos about this, and there's many other places you can go for the 1,001 uses for hemp. But no, can't grow that in Hawaii, and can't diversify, right? We had the ability to perhaps have a stock exchange here. Anyway, long story short, that doesn't affect you guys in the mainland so much. But long story short, we could have diversified and been out of, but no, we hitched our pony to our cart to the pony called tourism. And then the governor shot the pony. And people can't understand that very shortly, not just in Hawaii, but all across these United States, your real estate is about to go to shit, right? We already had a problem, and it's only gotten worse. We papered everything over in 2008. We should have had, they again did not allow the market to do what the market does. And now it's 2020, and things are exponentially worse. I saw a thing, I should see it, 63 days. We added $2 trillion in 63 days in debt. If you don't think, get yourself some silver. Get yourself some silver. Fucking A, get yourself some silver. And if you can afford it, get yourself some palladium. The white metals, because going back to that, where it very much looks like they're going to release a lot of those patents, the white metals are what you're going to need to make that. So it's going to become even more precious and in more demand, not just for monetary and not just for trade, but if you have the means and are able, and this is the other thing, if you can't defend it, and you can't, right, you don't want a crap ton of silver at your house. And if you don't think that they're going to, just like the people that were like so upset with Google because I was in incognito mode and you were still tracking me. Really, you fucks, you thought that you put your phone on incognito mode and they can't track you anymore, but you can still make phone calls. So how do they, it's just painful to me. But anyway, the idea is that, it is. You have to laugh. And if you don't laugh, you're going to go crazy. That's why the suicide rates are up. That's why I look like this at this age, because my friends are all upset and turning gray. And come on, you got to see the humor here, people. It's ridiculous. And it's the two masks, right? The comedy and tragedy, it's the same thing. And what we have now is tragedy, but it's pretty comical. Especially the ones running around with masks on can't understand that. It's okay. There's a great story, and look, I've interrupted myself so many times. I'll never get back to the beginning. I'll watch this video and just like shake my head. But the idea is that there's a story in the Supreme Yoga that talks about the guy running through the forest where he's bashing himself, and being hit by all these different things. And basically, the point of the story is that it's 100% self-inflicted. 100%. Your suffering is all up here, right? I look outside and it's a bright sunny day. Nothing's on fire, right? I'm not worried about myself or my family or friends dying of a disease with a 99.6% survivability rate. What are you upset about? The people that are most harming themselves are called Democrats, and they have masks on. They're looting shit. They're about to get rounded up. Everything's tits, if you ask me. Everything's dandy. What are you guys worried about? If you thought we were going to get to the other side and get to the point where, they're going to release all these patents and we're going to have all this, medical technology and all kind of fun stuff happening without some freaking suffering, because deny and defend until the end, because these fucking satanic pedophiles do not want to lose control of the power system that they've set up. You fooling yourself. There's going to be some casualties. Don't be one of the casualties. Get the fuck out of the way. Stay home. Don't, right? I mean, just don't give them an excuse to interface with you. And if they do interface with you, you better know what to say and what to write and so forth, right? And most people don't, is the bottom line. Right? When you get a ticket or something like that, there's a way to endorse it. And there's a way to let them know that you're not playing with their game, with their corporate presumptions and assumptions about your status and so forth. And then, like I said, if you want to avoid it completely, go change your status. Go learn about changing your status. Go learn about the words that you need to know and who you need to say them to, because it will make a big difference in your life. But again, all this pain is self-inflicted. And the Democrats are the best ones for inflicting the pain on themselves. Many of them cannot see the copious amounts of evidence. Like I said, the evidence for the COVID-19, very tiny amount of evidence, hardly anything. It's complete bullshit. And they walk it back constantly, right? And see, this is what they know, right? They put it on the headlines or they put it on the mainstream media outlets and so forth, and blah, 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 and blare it out there. And then, a few days later, a week later, they come back and they're like, right? And you don't hear it because it's whispered at you that, oh, by the way, you can't it's very rare to transmit the disease if you're asymptomatic. If you have no symptoms, of course you're not, because you have no symptoms. God. Anyway, so of course not. But now that's like revolutionary or something. The fact that the holes in the masks do not prevent the spread, just like the holes in your condoms did not prevent the spread of AIDS. The same lies, same people, same idiots, same people suffering. At least this time it doesn't kill you. All right. But when it comes to, say, I don't know, Pizzagate and Pedogate, there is copious evidence. If you just bother to look, it'll make you throw up, but there is so much evidence for it. Society doesn't want to look at that, right? They don't want to be, right? Because the media didn't tell them to, right? Oh, there was a great one. And they were going to rush the White House. They really were. They had planned to take on the White House, but the plan was foiled because apparently Trump has a time machine, or Trump can see the future. There's a you want to fall down a rabbit hole. There's some crazy technology out there made by a man named Tesla that was got a hold of by a man named John Trump, which happens to be Trump's uncle. And I don't know. I have no inside info. I just find it very interesting if you want to fall down that rabbit hole to go check into that there seems to be some time doesn't work the way we think it does. And it seems to be 3-dimensional. We think it's 2-dimensional and we think it only goes one way. And all evidence that I have, that's the case. But apparently that's not the case. And Tesla has said, Einstein has said, numerous other physicists that I have studied have said that it doesn't work the way you think. Anyhow, however it works, it seems that these guys are consistently one step ahead of their competition, one step ahead of their enemies. They always know what's coming. Like I saw this, like, if you look at my old videos and you look at my Facebook posts, you look at other posts that I've made, I wanted to be in Fiji when this all happened because I saw this coming. I didn't know how they were going to pull it off, but I knew this was coming. The next thing, people are like, all right, and again, how many ponies do they have? They only have 4 ponies. All right, so they have divide and conquer. That's their number one pony, and it works every fucking time in every fucking society. It works so well, it's painful how well it works. And the next one is pestilence, right? Disease. And then they can use divide and conquer and disease. You're wearing a mask, I'm not wearing a mask, right? Or, those of us that were not concerned about spreading the disease and so forth, and First Amendment rights and Second Amendment rights and all that kind of stuff. And those that were like, oh no, we need to be, the government loves us and keep us safe. Right? Divide and conquer and using pestilence. Third pony is famine. Right, and that's coming. That's their next. Everybody's talking about aliens and stuff. No, what they're going to try and do is fuck our food supply, make it so that there's no food in the stores. Oh, you want to see rioting and people angry and stuff like that? Wait till they're hungry. Right, they're not hungry right now, but if you get them hungry, now you better have a way to defend your stores if you're a prepper, because it ain't yours if you can't defend it. And understand that the government can come and take your shit. That there are executive orders that basically say that that we can take your stuff and redistribute it if we find that you have too much food or whatever the fuck it is. Anyway, pestilence is coming. Famine is coming. That seems to me very clear that that's going to be the next thing. Because if you want to rile up people, get them hungry, right? Do you guys not read Machiavelli? Do you not read Law of Nations? Do you not read? No, you don't. They do. Do you not? Right? There's rules of governance. There's all and it's fucking textbook, but they have diseducated you. They have miseducated you. They have undereducated you. They have made fucking sure that you don't read the stuff that they read, right? You don't read even the most basic. People in Hawaii do not understand, most of them, that all of their monarchs were fucking Masons. All of them. And by the way, I don't want to get into too much trouble here, but the Black Masons are showing are being exposed now. That there is a thing, there is a brotherhood, because again, the whole fucking thing is ruled by brotherhoods. But they're being exposed one after another, and who these people are and what they are and so forth. And of course, they get people who are of color because you think, well, they're oppressed, they're on our side. No, and they've made it to like if you think that Oprah Winfrey and Michael Jordan are oppressed because of their color, you might think again. And also, if they can make it, how come the average person can't do what they do? It's like I said, once you get in the club, and the way to get in the club is disgusting, because they want a control file on you. They want, if we give you this, you're our boy forever. And it doesn't actually matter what color you are, white or black or so forth. The brotherhoods, their initiation rituals and the shit that they do to keep people and make control files. And now all of this is happening, and most people are focused on the fact, don't look at what they want you to look at. What do they want you to look at? They want you to look at the fact that Seattle has the soy boys in Seattle are begging for food because they put a wall up, and now the area that they're in, apparently they don't have any food. So of course, being socialist, they want donations from other people. What they ought to do is just keep that right. Okay, you set this place up and made it a no-go zone in the middle of Seattle. Great, nobody go. Nobody bring them food. Nobody bring them. They can have water, and they can sit there for as long as they want. Don't need violence. Don't need anything. Just fucking starve them out. Oh man, yeah. Even my 15-year-old is like, before they did this, like they should have set up food forests and gardens and other stuff, and stored food and all this other in that area, and then, but no, they just kind of spontaneously off the cuff, and now they're in trouble. Now they don't have enough food to feed themselves. But anyway, the point being is that these guys always use agent provocateurs. It's the same again. Their modus operandi is the same. They only have 4 ponies, and they only have like 4-5 different methodologies of control inside of those 4 ponies. One of the ways that they do it is they get an agent provocateur or a group of agent provocateurs and make it look like they're on the side of the people, give them either technology or give them, in the case, say, I've talked about this with Kamehameha, I've talked about this in the Middle Americas, over the Inca Empire, the Aztec Empire, freaking the Indians. In India, the difference between Native Americans or North Americans and the people of the Indian continent, but they did the same thing there, where divide and conquer and find a few disgruntled people, give them money, give them arms, give them organization, give them bricks, and so forth. But give them the tools that they need to try to overthrow, and a lot of times they're fucking successful. And then it turns out they're no better than the people that they overthrew. In fact, a lot of times they're worse. And if you look at the socialists, they're horrifying. They are horrifying. If you look at what happened and you don't, as I said, you don't read your history. And see, with those of us that do read our history, we're damned to sit back and watch people repeat it. Whether it's financial, right? I mean, look at the videos from Mike Maloney. He's the same as me. You just have to laugh. It's so fucking ridiculous. And it's going to be horrible. What's coming up for a lot of people who aren't prepared, the financial devastation that they're about to wreak havoc on this country is going to be pretty severe. There's going to be a lot of people that suffer. So, like I said, prepare 90 days, because the next thing is pestilence, right? Because you want to rile people up. You want people, desperate people that are hungry. Their kids are hungry. Now you're going to see actual looting, not because they're just breaking shit and raising a ruckus and, taking expensive jewelry and stuff out of stores, or trying to get their shit back that they pawned. No, that's they're actually going to be trying to feed their children, and desperate men do desperate things. So what you want to try to do is avoid this in the first place. If you can see this is coming, 1, take care of yourself, and then 2, maybe try and do a few things to head this off at the pass. Maybe, just maybe. But what you're doing is they've got you focused on rioting. They've got you focused on COVID-19, or they had. I think COVID-19 has pretty much run its course. I mean, you're going to see. If they can riot, we can rally is a cry that I'm hearing. And again, remember, I'm not a U.S. person. I can no longer. I have officially. Well, I'm not official yet, but I'm getting there. And sent stuff priority mail to these fuckers, and I'm now going to go to the post office and get my money back because it was supposed to be there Tuesday. This is Thursday, and it still hasn't been delivered. And I paid $7 for one of them. And I'd be really pissed if I'd sent a bunch of them out and they didn't get there. I give them a little slack, the United States Post Office, because there's rioting, and I'm not, I understand that they might have a little trouble with the U.S. mail getting from point A to point B. But at the same time, a package, I sent this more than a week ago. And it shouldn't be that hard to get a letter from one place to another here. But anyway, they got you focused on all of these issues, but they don't have you focused on the fact, or they try to keep you focused. That's why a lot of this stuff is happening. The Pizzagate thing is breaking open. And the Pizza and Pedagate thing is breaking open. Wiener's laptop and so forth. Hillary is being held to account for her emails, and many of her emails have to do with child trafficking and other things. Never mind Benghazi, and not never mind, but in addition to Benghazi, in addition to all the other shit that they did, child trafficking is going to be a part of this, and Clinton and Obama are going to be clearly implicated in this. They have everything, my friends. Just understand. Like I said, they didn't. When you turned off your phones, when you thought you were in incognito mode, they were still tracking you. These people thought the same, that they were able to thwart the apparatus that they had set up, that somehow they were special and that their emails weren't being collected and that their communications weren't being collected, and they were trying to do it privately. Then they're so fucking ignorant when it comes to technology that they were breaking, bleach bitting hard drives and busting up BlackBerries. That's not where the data is contained. Right? That's like trying to kill me. You can't kill me. You can't kill me. Right? You can get rid of this body. You can burn this thing. You can drown it. Right? You can cut it up into little pieces, but you can't get rid of me. Right? I've always been here. I'm always going to be here. I've never not been here. Same with you. Right? Anyway, so they try to bleach bit their Blackberries and such. The data is still there. They have it all of it. All the screaming children, all that fucking horrific porn, kiddie porn. It's just kiddie porn. No, these children are bleeding and screaming. It's the most disgusting. And the worse it is, the more it sells for. Understand that. These people are sick beyond your ability to reckon sickness. You guys can't conceive of how sick these people are. I can't conceive of how sick these people are because I just got a tiny taste of it. And I was like, no more. I don't need any more. Right? Done. Okay. That was to solidify my allegiance, as it were, is I will never stop fighting these guys. I will never stop. I will never shut up. You can't shut me up. The worst thing you can do is kill me, and I'm fucking 56. I've had a good run. I've had a good time. I ain't afraid anymore, right? The whole give me liberty or give me death thing, yeah, I understand it now, right? All you can do is kill me, right? So you either fucking set me free or kill me, right? Fine. I mean, I have no issue. And I've been to the other side. The other side's fine. And everybody that's been to the other side will tell you that it's fine. It's better than this, right? This could be paradise, but we've got a little ways to go when it comes to loving each other, forgiving each other, and following basic tenets and commandments that all the religious people have told you about. Everybody, whether spiritual religion, whatever, whether it's Christians or Buddhists or Jews or Muslims or whoever it is, they all have basic tenets, and it boils down to treat other people the way you want to be treated, and you can't even do that, right? Forgive people, right? I'm the worst. I have a really hard time with that forgiveness thing. Love everybody, right? You got kids. The way you love your kids is the way you love everybody, right? Not just your kids, everybody, right? Your brothers and sisters. They're all your brothers and sisters. We're all fucking related. We're all in the same boat here together, right? Some of us have more, some of us have less. So those that have less, maybe you help them out. Right? If you are able, first you take care of yourself, though. Put the fucking mask on yourself, then put the mask on your kids. If you're the airplane that's crashing, or that loses pressure or whatever, you take care of yourself first, because if you lose consciousness, you can't help others. If you go down, you can't help others. So you take care of self first, but that doesn't mean you just take care of self, right? The idea is to get yourself set up and so that you are able to help others, right? I teach mathematics. I could never be a public school teacher because I couldn't afford to be a public school teacher. You can't eat and live and vacation and so forth on what they give teachers. So I did it privately, right? And I made some money elsewhere. And I'll tell you a true story. There was I gotta pick my words carefully, and we'll keep it very, very general. There was a guy that was going to go work for a corporation. And if you work for this corporation, you work for these guys, another friend of mine, you're going to make probably $100 million. And if you don't, they're going to fire you, because that's the business it is. It's high frequency trading. And he was a young black man but he happened to be champion of the chess club, one of the number one mathematics guys in his school and so forth, graduated, cum laude, everything, head of the, right? Okay. And what he wanted to do is go into the black community and teach kids and teach math. And he felt like he would be selling out if he went to go work for this company and make all that money. And I was like, I just took him aside and I'm like, you fucking idiot. Go make the money. Go work for 2 or 3 years. Make yourself a couple of $100 million, right? Now you can afford to build schools. Now you can not just go teach. You can actually pay others. You can, and if you don't want to do that, you don't have to worry if they pay you a salary or not. You can go teach all day long, and you're taken care of. Right. And if you need materials and you need other stuff, you don't have to fucking write grants or anything. You just go buy it because you got your own money. Right. And he thought about it and he went, oh, yeah. Right. Okay. So you sacrificed 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Yeah. Sell out. Fuck yeah. So if you consider that selling out, then sell out. And then you take that sell out. But you know how much money I made back in the .com boom that I donated to, well, actually you don't, and I'm not going to talk about it. But anyway, I made money off of oil companies. I made money off of fucking big business when it came to the internet, right? And then I had money to donate, right? But I wouldn't have if I didn't take advantage of some of these, like fucking Enron was anyway, a lot of those that I saw coming. There's an opportunity to make money there. All right, so then you take the money and then you donate it to, and then back in that time I was a jackass. I was giving it to Greenpeace and stuff like that. Should have been giving it to Sea Shepherd. But I mean, the idea is that you can't help others if you can't even help yourself, right? Grandma always told me, my own grandmother, the best thing you can do for the poor is not to become one of them, right? That's the best thing you can do. Right. And they've got your mind all fucked up with this altruistic bullshit where you're supposed to be poor and humble and shit like that. All right, fine. That can be good. And and again, it's not always the money that makes it so that you can help people. Right. There are plenty of people that just got started and it snowballed into huge organizations. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. I don't like Mother Teresa particularly, but I mean, Mother Teresa certainly wasn't because that was a bit of a psyop, but the certainly wasn't a coming from the point of the wealthy or coming from the rich point. She was a nun that had sworn a vow of, and had gone in and actually went just one person at a time. Right? I love there is an interview where she's like, okay, I got one, and then I got another one. And then once those two those people helped me get another one. And then it turned into that whole thing. Right. But the idea being is that, there's 100 different ways to do it. But the money just makes it easy. You take abundance from abundance and abundance remains. Money just makes it easy for you to have your will be done on earth. Simple as that. If you can think of it and you can conceive of it, that's why I used to like to go to cities like Chicago or New York. If you can think of it, you can buy it for the most part, whatever the fuck it is. Literally, it exists somewhere if you can find it. And if you have money, there is no issue in getting it. And I'm antiques or books or food or whatever it is. And that's the great thing about getting a bunch of humans together in one place. Now what they're going to do is try to decentralize that. And you can see that there are a lot of people that are rethinking their sojourn in big cities because they pay too much rent. Oftentimes it's a rat race. And now downtown's burned. The places where they used to get food, and now they got to travel even further just to get food. Like I said, famine is coming, my friends. That's the next thing they're going to set up, is where they make people hungry. And now when they light the tinderbox, oh my God. But in the meantime, I believe the deep state has shot a shot a little too early and used all their Antifa guys and pulled this stuff. But now they've been identified and they can be rounded up. And so now when the arrests come, and the arrests are coming, make no mistake, you cynics out there, you think that these fucking child rapers are going to get away with child rape and going to continue to get away with child rape now that it's been exposed. And now that many people, besides, like, if I knew about it, other people knew about it. Simple as that. And I knew about it. And so did you. A lot of you guys did too. So a lot of people that were in a position to do something about it and were being hampered, let's say, or had their hands tied, their hands are about to be untied. And a lot of the people that would have gone ballistic because they're deceived, duped, idiot tools of the deep state, putting their black masks on. It used to be white hoods. Now it's black masks and black hoodies. Right? It's just black and white. I mean, so fucking simple, right? They're not putting them in yellow. They're not putting them in pink. They're not putting them in blue. They put them before the KKK, the Democrats, they were wearing white and white hoods. Now they're wearing black and black hoods, black masks and black hoods. But same bird, right? Just same fucking thing. Are you fooled? You're not fooled. Anyhow, those people were going to be like little wind-up toy soldiers sent out into the streets and so forth. If certain people were arrested, like Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama or many of the members of the CIA who are absolutely behind this. Oh my God, this is such a fucking CIA psyop. It's like, it's got their fingerprints all over it. And they work with various organizations. They're really good at networking, as it were. And they're really good, again, like I said, the good guys, and the bad guys, the guys that wear the bad, right? So that you right? It's theater. It's 100% theater. But anyway, they are excellent at working together because, like I said, secrecy is their number one thing. You and I can't know what they know, but they're really good at working together to control the masses. And if you think that it's just one side or the other, and that somehow the Republicans are the good guys, okay, good, you're part of the plan, right? You're going to have to get past the Republican Democrat paradigm. It's us against them. It's a very, very, very few that control billions. Right? It's thousands that control billions. When you get to the top of that pyramid, the very apex of that thing, it's, I don't know how many it is, but it's not like hundreds of thousands. And it's certainly not millions. It's less than 10,000 probably. And they're hangers on and so forth. But I mean, and that small group of people controls billions of people. And they did it through the brotherhoods, right? They have a hierarchy, 72 bricks that, works its way down, and at the very bottom is me and you. Right? At the very bottom, we are the Duracells that make this thing happen. And right now, because they understand psychology and they understand how this thing works, they have studied it for centuries. And this is the other thing. Those others, they seem to be able to have 500-year plans and 100-year plans. They don't just have 10-year plans or 5-year plans. Their plans are like 100 years in the making, 500 years in the making. They ain't like us. They like us, but they ain't like us. They can look like us, but they ain't like us. They don't have empathy. They don't have love. They don't even understand why it is a bunch of Marines will go out and get a dead guy on the battlefield and drag him back, right? That guy won't die alone. Right? They'll risk their lives. They'll risk, like, a unit will risk being killed to get the one guy. And see, this is why Benghazi, what fucking Democrats and many others don't fucking understand, is that they insulted the Marines in every fucking way, shape, and form. They mocked the Marines, and the leadership of the Marines ain't fucking having it. If you think that those guys are going to get away with leaving our boys' asses out to dry, and when they knew in advance that some of this stuff was going to happen, and there were all manner of men that were ready to go out there and fight for their fellows. That's what they fucking trained for. That's what they were there for, right? Crack teams. And they were told to stand down. And their boys got killed, right? And they fought valiantly. They fought for hours without having people come and save them, right? Or there was no cavalry that came to the fucking rescue, right? If you don't fucking think that there are Marines that are fucking, like, I'm mad, I'm sure I'm like 5% of what they are, right? They are livid. These were their fucking fellows. These were, you don't understand the Brothers in Arms thing if you haven't been in Brothers in Arms, right? These were fucking United States Marines. Okay, their generals are not going to have these people walk free, right? They're livid about it. And yeah, it's been years. They're not done being livid, right? Until such time as certain people who are responsible for that whole fucking thing are fucking hanging till dead. That's what the law says. It doesn't say put them in prison. It doesn't say slap them on the wrist. It says hung until dead, right? These people are going to die. Like I said, the Q is trying to tell you, other people are trying to tell you, because you're not going to be ready for what comes, but there is going to be execution in this country, right? These people will be executed. It's not just going to be, right? Okay, in order for that to happen, the troops have to be cleaned up. The unwitting tools, the fucking idiot, deceived fools that don't understand that right now they're being used as a absolute distraction for what's going on. Like I said, Hillary is in some serious hot water, and all of her fixers are gone. And Barr understands, what's the fucking first rule of Fight Club? First rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. I don't know who's being investigated. I don't know who's, right? You don't say anything until such time as the hammer drops. And so a lot of these people, and they don't know. They also don't know. A lot of them they've gotten away with it for so long. They're used to getting away with it. And they expect they're going to continue to get away with it. And they're in for as rude a shock as some other people are that think that, right? So you're all focused on COVID-19 and rioting, and you ought to be, because fucking A, it's crazy what's going on in this nation. City's literally burning, and night after night after night, it just gets worse and worse and worse. I finally just turned it off because you can't keep up with it. But that was a false flag. That was go look into the Floyd thing. That was such a false flag. It's painful. Anyway, also, what doesn't seem, you don't seem to see that the Pizzagate thing is coming out. You don't seem to see that the Pettigate thing is there's some rumblings there. You don't seem to see that the Benghazi thing's going on. You don't seem to see that a lot of, there is forward progress, right? As Barr, I think, said out loud, and I believe Barr is a fixer, I really do, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But again, you don't talk about Fight Club. You just don't talk about Fight Club. I'll tell you, a long time ago when this Pizzagate thing was just getting started, a bunch of us went looking for witches, as it were. And we've wound up on Elefantis, James Elefantis, I believe it was his Instagram. Pretty sure it was Instagram, and a couple other Instagram pages. And holy shit, these people are so fucking blatant that they put all manner of stuff that shouldn't have been on Instagram. Let's put it that way. Just absolutely incriminating evidence. Let's put it that way. All right. One of the guys in our group is starts typing on his page, I can't believe you did that. To this day, I don't know if you're watching, but if I fucking catch you, anyway, because then of course, what do? They make their accounts private. They make their They take the pictures down. There's stuff like that. You don't fucking let them know that you're investigating them, right? You don't let them know that you know. Right? Just let them go. Let them do what they do. Let them continue to do what they do and collect the evidence. That's what's going on in a lot of different places because these people are, like I said, so fucking ignorant that they don't understand that there isn't anything that's gone off of your computer in the last 10 years, probably more than that, but at least, actually 20 years easily, that they don't have. Every fucking email, every phone call, every bit of data, every fucking picture, anything that you've ever sent anywhere, it exists somewhere out there, not just on your drive, right? They have it. That includes Hillary Clinton. That includes everybody in the CIA. That includes everybody in the NSA. That includes, every fucking buddy. They have it all. Now, it's not a matter of, it's right. For a little while, there was a problem with storage, but then we've gotten to the point where we can store terabytes and terabytes and, quintabytes and so forth of data. Now it's just about retrieval. Right? Ooh, but they have all kinds of cool spiders and other software that can retrieve data. Now, they knew a little bit about that, so they use code words, right? But once you know the code words, now you can retrieve the data that has those code words in it. So, you're looking for the word pedophile. They don't use the word pedophile. Or you're looking for the word, child porn. They're not using child porn. They don't use child porn. They use a different string of letters. Cheese pizza. Right? They don't talk about male child prostitutes. They talk about hot dogs. They don't talk about, right? Okay. So the idea is now once you crack the code, now you can use your spiders and find, and there seems to be an inordinate amount of hot dog and cheese pizza eating in a place called Washington, D.C., where these people make way more money than the average person, and yet they're eating hot dogs, cheese pizza, pasta sauce. They're eating all the cheap foods, right? They're not eating filet mignon and Chateaubriand and so forth. They're eating cheese pizza and hot dogs. And then you tell people this, and they're like, "Oh, that's conspiracy theory." But like I said, we're coming up on big changes, big, huge, tremendous changes for the human race. And it's not going to be without casualty. It's not going to be without we're not going for an omelet here, right? You got to make an omelet. You got to break some eggs. We're going for souffle, my friends. We're going to have quiche and souffle because some of these devices, and that just energy alone. Just think if you didn't have to pay, and you don't, you shouldn't have been paying your electric bill anyway, and there's a way to get around that if you understood that there isn't any fucking money and you had read your history and in 1933 understood that they took all your gold in return for taking care of you, but you didn't know how to ask them to take care of you, so you pay your electric bill with labor instead of having it offset because it's offset. Okay, let's put it this way. It was explained to me really well. Let's say you work for a company. All right, perfect. I used to work for a radio station. And part of my compensation, because we had trades with all manner of companies and so forth, was I got a car and I got gasoline and I got insurance. Okay, so I would go to various gas stations, pay for the gas with my own money, and then I would take a receipt back to our comptroller and say, "Hey, here's my gas receipt," and then they would pay me. Okay, it's the same thing with your electric bill. The corporation is supposed to take care of you. That's part of your basic needs, and you were supposed to be able to take, and there's forms for it, to take your electric bill or your gasoline or your food back to that comptroller and get reimbursed for it. Simple as that. But you didn't know about it. Nobody told you, and they're not going to tell you, and I'm telling you, and now you got to figure it out for yourself. I'm not doing it for you. I'm not telling you what forms to fill out, but the forms exist, and you can fill them out. Same thing if you know about endorsements and so forth. Just understand, everybody, you have, let me get a pen here. No, let's just do two. All right. Credit, debit. All right. That's it. You got to understand this very simple concept. There's you and there's the gov. All right. So when you have debits that these guys are supposed to take care of, you give it over to them, and then they credit you back. All right. That's a whole other thing, and that's another issue. But the idea is that people don't understand that that's the way this thing was set up, and you shouldn't have been using your labor to take care of rent or mortgage or any of that, right? Your labor is yours. They can't tax that. That's your property. But anyway, they got you all messed up thinking that they can tax your labor and that they can tax your property. They can't tax your property, right? And even in Hawaii, they call it property tax. No, if it was your property, they couldn't tax it. Go look on your damn form, that mortgage. It says that you are the tenant. It does not say that you are the owner, right? If you were the owner, they couldn't tax it. Anyway, the point being is that we're just that one thing, free energy, the ability to make energy that you don't have to pay for. Think about desalination, because that's the number one thing that it takes to green a desert is clean, fresh water. We're surrounded by oceans. And if you have copious amounts of energy, then you can take the salt out of the water and make it fresh. And now you can grow plants. You can live anywhere if you have a device this big that generates power. Now you can generate, you can live up north, you can live down south. Speaking of that, take a look at the fact that Trump wants to build a fleet of icebreakers. I've been talking about building a fleet of icebreakers, I don't know, for 10 years now, at least. Anyway, just take a look at it. I'm not even going to put links or anything like that. Just go look up Trump building icebreakers, right? An icebreaker fleet. Why would we need an icebreaker fleet if it's going to get warmer? Anyway, and where is that icebreaker fleet going to go? But the point being is that you could live anywhere on the planet if you had free energy. If you had, quote unquote, it's not free energy because you still got to need materials and so forth to make the device. But there are all trumps. If you know what that is, where you use the greatest thing. This is my favorite out of all of the free energy devices because it's so simple and we've had it forever. We had it back in Roman times. It's clear that they had it in Roman times. The one problem that the Romans had is they didn't have the technology to build pipes, or so we're told. I don't know if that's true or not, that could hold the pressure. But anyway, you take the, right, and you put it in this thing. Okay. And this has to be aerated water. And then it goes through here, and then it goes here, and then it goes out the other side. And what happens in this is that the pressure builds up. So it makes tremendous PSI. They used to do this for mines. They used to do elevator shafts in steampunk movies. Sometimes you see this. But anyway, the water comes down. It builds up pressure in a tank. You can look it up. And then you take a pipe off of this. And then that PSI runs generators and so forth, because basically you just shoot that air across a turbine and you can make power out of it. Also, when you take the pressure, if you understand some basic physics, when you let that pressure off, it's cooling. So you can do refrigeration. Now you don't need a huge amounts of energy to do refrigeration. Look it up. It's called the Trump. Very still in use in Spain and a lot of places, and a lot of places in the United States where they tried to use it, the people wound up dead, oddly enough. But there's all manner of free energy coming our way. There's all manner of medical breakthroughs coming our way. There's all manner of stuff happening. It all hinges on one thing. They're going to try and stuff the genie back in the bottle. The genie's name is Donald Trump. And all he is, like I said, it's not all him. They've made it into the figurehead. We love that, making, praising and worshiping false idols and so forth. But what he is the tip of the spear for a group of people that has, for a very long time, seen that these satanic pedophiles, these demons, these bastards, these rapers of children and women and men have absolutely taken control of certain positions of power and governance on this planet. We're talking planet-wide. Never mind, you guys got to get, this is the other thing. The American citizens or U.S. persons need to pick up, the Canadians and Mexicans need to pick up their brain and figure out, and their consciousness, and figure out that it's us against them. It's not Republican versus Democrat. It's the masses against the very few, and the very few have mind-fucked you, have done everything they can to make you sick, have done everything they can to make this planet less of a paradise instead of the perfect paradise that it was, have done everything to give you shit energy, like nuclear energy. Are you fucking kidding me? That is the dumbest, stupidest, most imbecilic thing humans do. is use nuclear. I mean, what did Einstein say? It's a hell of a way to heat water, right? And they did it the stupidest way possible. I mean, if we're going to use that kind of energy, fine. They could have done it in a much more intelligent fashion, and instead they built these reactors basically to fuck up so that they would pollute the ocean, so that they would pollute the surrounding environments, because they don't like us. There are much better ways to get much more energy. I mean, oh my God. Anyway, so they made sure that they had control of that. They made sure they got control of the food supply, so that now we, factory farms. There's a great Joe Rogan experience with Salatin, that Joe Salatin, I believe is his name. Basically a biodynamic farmer, talking about how we could be, and this is a thing that's inadvertently happened out of this. A lot of people starting to grow their own gardens and starting to look into this. And starting to figure out that, oh, wait a minute, we could grow our own food and we can do it better than these factory farms and not cause the pollution. And you can, if you're insisting on eating pork and cattle and so forth, bison and beef. Well, how about you get them out of the factory farms? You put them in big acreages, and instead of like I said, the land use is the same. The amount of area is the same, because you got to grow the way we do it now. You got to have acres and acres and acres of land that have corn and other products for feeding these animals. Instead, you could have them out there grazing. They fertilize the soil with their poo. I have a good friend. Well, and I'll end here pretty quickly. But I have a good friend that has a biodynamic farm. If you go to his biodynamic farm, it's surrounded by Driscoll and other places in California. His farm is this green oasis. The other farms, they use Roundup and other shit products to kill the wheat, so that in between the trees and the orchard, it's brown, it's dirt, right? His farm, it's green, because what do? They have all these orchards. They put the animals in there. The animals eat the grass, and they poo. And that is excellent fertilizer for the trees. Then, and it's all, there's a science to it. Then they let it sit there for a while, and what happens? The flies come and they lay their eggs in the poo. But you don't let the larvae get to the point, because it takes so many days for the larvae to mature and turn into more flies. But before they do that, then they release the chickens and other ducks and small animals. The animals eat, and they love it, and they are healthy when they eat that kind of food. They eat the larva, so that they don't turn into flies. It doesn't stink. And they are constantly scratching and spreading it out, so that you don't have to worry about spreading the fertilizer around. This adds more to the soil, more biomaterial to the soil. The worms are happy. The soil is happy. The soil holds more water. So their farm uses, I can't remember, some ridiculous, like 10% of what their surrounding farms do. So they're always getting credits when it comes to water usage, because their farm doesn't use as much water, and it's greener than the other farms. Their fruit tastes better. Their animals taste better. Like before they slaughter the hogs, they do a 3-week thing where all the fruit and so forth, and these are usually, stone fruit. So like peaches and, fruit that avocados and fruit that has, but they also do lemons and limes and other stuff, mangoes, stuff that has, big pits. But anyway, they give all of that to the animals before and imagine if they were able to grow hemp and they could feed them hemp seed. But anyway, the animals get to eat fresh fruit right up until the time they're slaughtered, and then you eat. I mean, that's some of my sons got spoiled on that bacon. Like, that is like the best bacon ever in the history of ever. And this is just biodynamic farming using our technology. All right, the whole planet could be like this, but no, the demons give you oleander to plant around your house, because it looks pretty. It's fucking poison. Why aren't you planting stuff that you can eat? Right? There's like, plant ivy on the thing. Just ivy. Okay, can you eat ivy? No. But there are plants just like ivy, look just like ivy, that you can eat, and it's called spinach. And I grew up. You can't pick enough of it. You can't pick it fast enough. And it tastes just like spinach. You put it in, you cook it with however you make your spinach. I don't know. I like butter and salt personally, and maybe a little bacon or something like that. But or in the drippings of meat and so forth, you put the spinach. Delicious. All right. That could be growing up on the side of bill, and you can just pick it off the plant and put it in your mouth that way too. But no, we plant ivy instead. But I mean, you could be living in food, like most animals that go outside and they live in food. We could be doing the same thing. Food forest. I've lived on this island for 50 more years, 52 years now. In 52 years, we could have orchards have been planted, and everybody have the ability to pick all manner of avocados and mangoes and soursop and every kind of tree that produces. Nope. We could have places where, you know, there are community gardens where you just walk in there and cut the lettuce that you want for your salad that day, and there's tomato plants. Nope, none of that, right? They want you going to centralized food distribution. The demons have been ruling this planet for the longest time and educating you in from the time that you were 5 years old. They stick you in public education camps and publicly educate you. Do they give you the knowledge that you need to make this a beautiful green planet? No, in fact, they tell you the opposite. They tell you that this is all crazy talk. That guys like me are out of their fucking minds. We're just dreamers, right? This can't happen. You need to get behind a cubicle. You don't want to be a farmer. You don't get your hands dirty. You don't want to grow your own food. That's for peasants. That's for someone else, right? You certainly don't want to slaughter your own animals humanely, right? And there might be you might eat a little less meat if you understood, but I have no issue, right? I have no issue shooting a deer in the head and eating it. I have no issue working in a slaughterhouse and killing this, right? These cows didn't know they were going to get killed here on Maui. In other places, they're screaming because they know the cow in front. They know. The chickens know. And now that meat is polluted with adrenaline and all manner of fear, and then they feed it to you, right? Instead, you should have, right? And a lot of you don't have the stomach for it. You can't do it. You want to eat the meat, but you can't. All right, then you should make sure that whoever slaughters those animals, one, as we say in Hawaii, the animals, you treat them good, right? They depend on you. And my son, we have mice in this house, and I wanted to kill the mice because that's the way I am. Just fucking get rid of them. But he didn't, you know, because he's that next generation in every life. Okay, great. All creatures great and small. So what? So we caught the mice in these live traps that you know, collect them alive. Okay, well now you got to, right, we're going to release them eventually. Like they're going to be taken out to a field far, far, far away from this house, because otherwise they'll just come back. You can't just put them outside, because otherwise they'll be back the next day. But anyway, I told him, now that you have these mice, you got to give them water. You got to give them food, because now they're depending on you to take care of them, right? And we have shirked that responsibility on a grand scale. We can't protect the most innocent, right? The quote unquote dumb animals. They're not so dumb, but we can't protect our own children. And I've been banned off of Facebook because when I started posting how many children have gone missing, right? And this bullshit that they've taught you that, there's 800,000 children reported missing and they're all recovered within about an hour. Bullshit. On the Big Island and on Maui, actually Maui not so bad, but on Oahu and Big Island, just since last year, I can't remember how many children, I should go look it up, but I mean, many, many children have gone missing, and they, you know, last seen in December, last seen in January, last seen last June, right? How do children just go missing off of an island? I mean, like, you can't even steal cars here, because eventually they're going to find the car. I mean, where do you fucking take the car? You can't get it onto a ship without the paperwork. So you got to take it to a chop shop. All right. The children are missing here. But we don't make any noise about that. COVID-19. Oh, we had 6 people die, and 4 of them were bullshit. So on Maui, we've had 2 people die actually of COVID-19 on an island of 144,000. We're worried about it. But children going missing, right? So we can't protect the children. We can't protect the animals who depend on us and who sacrifice themselves so that we can eat. We can't protect that. We can't protect women, right? I mean, we have we have failed in many, 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 many ways. However, we have become aware that we're failing, and now we can make change, right? This is the thing that I know from many different people. Again, I know these people in person, right? I mean, it's not people I've heard of. These are fucking people I know. And they want to come clean, but they can't come clean because they feel that they will be prosecuted or persecuted or, you know, lynched because they knew about it and they didn't say anything. They didn't participate, but they knew about it. And they want to come clean because they want to see it come to an end. And I absolutely agree with them, because there was a time when I was angry at them also. But now I realize, after taking up the cause, because I mean, people think that, you know, maybe I have some kind of history. Well, yeah, I do, but it never happened to me. But I know people that it did happen to, because in my high school, we had a pedophile priest. And yeah, anyway, the idea being is that those people won't speak. And when they do speak, you don't fucking believe them, right? The average child that comes out there and says anything about being abused or whatever the fuck it is, just go take a shower. Just go. Anyway, the idea being that these people that that knew about it, when they try to come clean and when they try to inform others, they're either derided or you don't believe them, right? The children, or they're made like, oh, the children didn't know what they're doing. The parents made them think about that this was happening. This is what they did back when it first bubbled out back in the 90s. And they said, oh, that was just psychosis, and that was mass psychosis. There's no demons. There's no pedophiles. There's no Satan worshipers. Certainly, that's just crazy talk. That's not going on. Oh my God, it was going on in spades, and they got away with it for another 30 years because of that. So now it is time for us to fucking figure out that, yes, this is happening. There's copious amounts of evidence, and we need to put a stop to it. And that's what's happening. And these people are panicking. Like this whole thing that you are seeing, people are like, why would they commit felony after felony? Because they don't want to be found out for being pedophiles. Why would they do all this rioting and plant pallets of bricks here and there and so forth? Again, go get the bricks and build something, because nobody's going to charge you for stealing the bricks, because nobody's going to admit that they were the ones that put the bricks there, right? Nobody's going to admit that they paid for the bricks. So basically, a lot of people got free bricks that you can use for building. See, and that's the thing. The brick doesn't care. Right? The brick isn't good or bad. It's how you use it. If you use it for throwing it through a window or throwing it through somebody's head that or whatever, whether it's an Antifa guy that you throw the brick at, or it's an Antifa guy throwing the brick at you, whatever, you're Americans, you're U.S. persons throwing bricks at each other, right? They've got you to fight with each other. They love that. Or you could take the brick and build a barbecue in your backyard, or put a patio out there or whatever, right? Pallets of bricks are rather expensive. That's how well organized these fuckers were, right? That they were able to put bricks out and stones and so forth for just so happens for the looting. So why are they doing all of that? Again, why are they getting the people to riot? Because they don't want to be found out, right? Because they want to cover their tracks. And it's not just, they don't want to be found out when it comes to, say, Ukraine and the money there, and Tanzania, and just any fucking where we sent foreign aid, Indonesia, the money came back and got put in the pockets of many. Right? They don't want to be found out that they're actually Chinese sympathizers, and that the Chinese Communist Party had paid huge amounts of money to various members of our Congress. Think about it: a nation of 325 million. There's only about 700-800 people that are quote unquote elected officials that run the show. So buying up a few of those when you're a nation like China that has billions and billions and billions of dollars, and one of the things I've heard, or I heard when I was in think tanks in DC, and I only went a couple of times. And anyway, and I won't say I was in a think tank to say I was with people that were in think tanks that were having drinks in a bar afterwards, and I hung out with these people on more than one occasion because I had a girlfriend whose family was heavily involved in politics, and the behind the scenes guys, not the elected guys. Anyway, the idea being is that our politicians are bought cheap, right? We have the cheapest. They sell themselves so fucking cheap, it's ridiculous as compared to other countries. Other countries, these guys want, they have a list of stuff. In our country, these fucking hillbillies, they'll take ridiculously small amounts of money and do incredible amounts of harm for it. When it comes to, say, vaccines, when it comes to not enforcing certain regulations or putting regulations in place that allow corporations to do the things that some of our corporations have done that have not worked out well for the common man, right? They just bottom off, and there is a list, and we know about it. They're being found out. Again, they're being found out, and they're doing every fucking thing they can to keep from being found out. And that doesn't even have to do with the rape of children. That's just money. That's just making money off of corruption and so forth, right? The rape of children is going to come out, and you're going to see the fact that there's going to be problems. There's going to be, I see very clearly that there's going to be problems going forward when it comes to social unrest and strange fruit showing up in this country once again. But the strange fruit this time isn't going to be poor niggers. It's going to be politicians and other people that were involved in the trade. And once again, the trade of human traffic, the trade of adrenochrome, the trade of procuring young children for these sick fucking demon worshippers that need actual human sacrifices to sacrifice during their rituals. It's coming up. Midsummer is coming up. There's multiple satanic rituals coming up here shortly. They need human sacrifice. So they need procurers. So there's an entire business about it. Those procurers have families. Many of those people that were involved in, and they're pretty women, right? Because we trust pretty women. We think that pretty women, right? That's why in all the stories, the witches turn themselves beautiful and they turn out to be witches. Take a look at Allison Mack and a bunch of these other people that were involved in procuring children for these fucking sick fucks, right? Those people are just as guilty. They may or may not have participated in the rituals and the sacrifices and so forth, but they got the children so that they could, right? So they are just as guilty. Now, there are other people that knew, they're a couple of generations back or a couple of degrees of separation back that knew about it, kept their mouth shut because, like I said, once again, if they fucking talk, nobody's going to believe them, right? Do not get, the media is owned by these same people that do this shit. So they're not going to be able to tell their story and get you riled up about it because the media will do everything they can to make it sound like crazy talk. Meantime, they got you wearing masks and afraid of a fucking virus that has a 99.6% survivability rate if you're a regular human being with a fucking normal immune system between the ages of 0 and 65. Does it kill a child every now and then? Yeah, every once in a while a child will catch a cold and die. It's pretty fucking rare though, and you know it. But they had you scared about that, but they didn't have you scared about the fact that these people in white vans were government agents driving around fucking neighborhoods picking up children, and you never saw them again. You didn't find them within another hour, right? You just, they're gone, right? Disappeared. That's going on, and it's coming to an end, but it's still going on. And we still have the focus on riots. We still have the focus on COVID-19. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be focused there, but I'm saying don't take your eyes off the prize, because the reason for the riots, the reason for the COVID-19 is because they're fucking covering for the business that they call traffic, right? And that traffic is humans. That traffic is drugs. It's just traffic. It's just the black market. And to them, it's just business, right? And if you happen to fall into the category of the traffic that they want because you're a disenfranchised little black child or white child, make no mistake, it's this whole race thing has gotten me seriously pissed off because are you kidding me? In the Middle East, they don't want little brown babies. They want little white babies. Right? They want little blondie-haired girls. They don't want little black girls, right? It depends on where it is. Certain sultans in certain places and certain of these satanic pedophiles, they like the white flesh, not just the dark flesh, right? Color is not the issue. The issue is that these sick fucks worship demon gods, gods that demand sacrifice. It's been going on for generations. It's coming to an end, right? The consciousness, as the thing that they have feared the most, is coming to pass in your lifetime. The consciousness is rising, right? The idea that when enough of us get here, something happens to the consciousness, right? It rises. You cannot be fooled. I see many things now where it's just great, where people are not fooled. Right? That whole Floyd thing, people are asking questions. There was a great one where they put a sign up, when they were going to run over the White House and so forth. And of course, again, they make a big mess. They litter. They don't pick up their own garbage. They don't pick up their own protest signs and so forth. That's for somebody else to pick up. We showed them. Anyway, the fucking soy boys. I hate them. I hate the Democrats. I mean, I fucking hate Republicans, but I fucking hate Democrats. Like, you have no idea. Especially these sanctimonious fucks that won't admit that the KKK Democrats, Antifa Democrats, and like I said, the Republicans not much better. But the idea is that they put a sign up on the wall, and everyone's like, I love it. You know why? Because fucking Democrats love to be lied to, and they love to repeat lies. But basically, the sign in front of the White House with all the other garbage and mess said, more people than your inauguration. Okay. you want to defeat that. If you see them put signs up like that, or if you see that on Facebook or whatever, you want to just defeat it. And don't do it for them. Fuck them. Make them do it themselves, because they can't do their own research. Do the just go look at how many people and the revenue and the number of people that were on the subways of DC when Obama was inaugurated as compared to when Trump was inaugurated. Which had more? Which had more traffic? Which day did you see many more people riding the subways in DC? Was it Obama's inauguration or was it Trump's inauguration? Right there should be enough to let you know. Right? That's just simple fucking numbers and math. Right? Were they just there because right? And were there huge amounts of violent protests on the day of the inauguration? And were the Democrats showing up to the inauguration to hold signs and raise a ruckus, or were they basically staying home? So no, you can't say that, the number was bigger because, right? The lie that nobody showed up to Trump's inauguration is just that, a lie. Many people were really happy that the witch didn't get in. Let's put it that way. But they're so ignorant that they can't even do that, and they still repeat the lies. They repeat the lies. They repeat the lies. Like I said, it's blared out there, whatever the lie is, and then they retract it later, right? They whisper it later. Oh, that was a lie. And oh, we didn't tell you that it can't travel 6 feet like we thought. It's not airborne. There's no fucking evidence. Zero evidence that this coronavirus is an airborne thing that'll sit there in particles for days. Right? They try to tell you that it could last for 2 weeks on a surface. Woo! Microbiology 101. But anyway, the idea is that they basically lied and lied and lied and lied. Now their lies are coming apart. Now everybody's saying, hey, wait a minute, everybody's not dropping like flies. There aren't 2 million people dead. There aren't thousands of people dying on Maui from coronavirus. There aren't tens of thousands of people dying on Oahu from coronavirus where there's millions. Because they told you there's populations of millions that there are going to be thousands and thousands of people dying, right? Where are they? And then they padded the numbers, right? And it was clear that they were padding the numbers. Do you need to pad numbers if it's an actual pandemic? I don't think you do. See, people are being able to use their logic and reasoning skills, what limited, and see, they've been damaged. Understand that you were put, myself included, into slave schools that damaged your critical thinking skills. I just happened to travel down the math path, which cleared up a lot of things. But most people, what's their grade in mathematics when it comes to just algebra? F is the most common grade. Most people are traumatized by mathematics. I just had a friend that graduated, just took their final for statistics, and I sent her numerous links to PDFs called "How to Lie with Statistics," because they know how to use statistics to lie to you, and you don't have enough mathematics to be able to see through the bullshit, which is why, again, you had so many people wearing masks and so on, because they could not see through the bullshit. And that was 100%. Generation after generation, Renee Isabirth and the dumbing down of America. Numerous people have. There's another guy whose name is not going to come. I know. I can see his face. But there are numerous people that told you that whole system was fucking set up to dumb you down. It wasn't set there to educate you. It was make it so that you know how to pull the levers, but you don't know what the levers do, and you're not smart enough to ask questions about it either, right? So that you've been educated just enough to believe what you were taught, but not enough to question what you were taught. So again, Daniel Webster, what did he do? He changed all the words so that you don't know the legal definitions of these words. So you don't know what the words mean. You don't know what you assume and presume, and you agree with their presumptions. Well, everybody's doing it, so I'm going to pay my mortgage off with my labor. So I, go to traffic court, and you pay the ticket because you don't know that you're not in their jurisdiction and that they don't have the ability to. Anyway, the idea is that, and you're not going to be belligerent, but the idea is that they miseducate you, they undereducate you, and they tell you lies that you believe, right down to the nature of this universe and how it's created, and your very nature. More than, I'm just going to say, 75% of people are afraid to die. Literally, like, afraid. Like, they'll do anything to last another 5 minutes. They'll waste their family fortune to keep grandma alive another 24 hours when should have just let her go. Instead, you hand your money over to the doctors because you're afraid of death. You're afraid of dying. because you don't understand the nature of the whole thing, because you've been lied to from day one. And anybody that tells you different, oh, that's just your belief. Oh, that's just your opinion. Even though there are plenty of people that'll tell you that they had quote unquote near-death experience, I mean, declared dead, and came back and can tell you what happened. Well, that's just, out of their mind. But wait a minute, his story and this other guy's story and that woman's story and the story over there from this woman in Australia and that other woman that's in India and one lady in South Africa and a guy in America and another Canadian, they all have the same fucking story. But it's just imagination, right? And see, that's the fear. That's how they rule and control you, right? And they get rid of guys like me and they get rid of other guys because the day that you lose your fear and the day that you realize that the worst they can do is kill me, and then all they can do, can they kill me? No, they can just get rid of this body. Once you get to that point, oh, now they have a hell of a time controlling you, right? Because they can't scare you back into the cage. Now, when you get, you're going to have to get yourself some information so that you don't get into a position where they want to kill you or they can kill you or that they're, right? Because I know doctors that were just like, fuck it, I'm going to do, and now they're dead, right? Knew these guys. I had another client that was under the treatment of one of these doctors because we were talking about vaccines and vax damage and so forth. That had figured a few things out and they killed him. And so she was concerned about me because I won't shut the fuck up. And it was the same thing with that guy. But see, here's the difference. I don't have a big platform. What do I got? 12 people, 16 people? Wow, 16 people? That's a lot. 15 people. For me, that's a ton of people, right? Because ain't nobody wants to listen to a guy like me, especially not go on for freaking hours about it. Although Joe Rogan Experience is getting better. Like I like it because people are trying to figure out. You can't fucking put it out there in 2 minutes. You can't put it out there in 5 minutes. It takes a while to put all the things together. It takes an hour or 2 or 3 to talk about whatever topic it is. And I'm rambling all over the place. I'm talking about 5. I mean, these are big issues, right? The nature of the universe, the fact that you've been lied to about how gravity works and how electricity works and how every fucking thing works. And you believe it because everybody else believes it. Right? You've been lied to and lied to and lied to the point where you repeat the lies and you can't tell the difference between a lie and the truth. It's very difficult to find it, right? But here's the thing. And I believe this at the bottom of my heart. I mean, absolutely, I believe this, is that humans, you can be lied to and deceived. Absolutely. We all can. I've definitely been lied to and deceived and believed those lies and then went, right? Start with Santa Claus when you were a child. But anyway, the idea is, in your heart, when you hear the truth and you know something's true, you know it's true, right? You know it. They've done everything they can to try and beat that shit out of you. But when you hear the truth and you know it's true, you know it. Like there's something in you that you just know that's true, right? Now, there's times when you go, that's true, and it turns out it's false. But there are other times when the truth is the truth, and you can't, right? You just can't deny the truth. But the problem is, a lie, as they say, will travel the world a couple of times before the truth even gets its boots on. But the truth, once it stands and once it gets out there, truth will always out, and truth cannot be denied. Truth needs no defense. It doesn't need your opinion. It doesn't need guns. It doesn't need anything. Truth is truth. Now, finding and see, this is why I like the mathematics, because in the mathematics you can find what's true because the numbers don't lie. People use the numbers to lie, but the numbers themselves don't lie. Mathematics is not a deceiver, right? Mathematics is a bringer of truth, and she's a cold-hearted bitch. Make no mistake, she doesn't give a fuck about your feelings, right? The truth is the truth. And with numbers, you can reveal the truth, but with numbers, you can also hide the truth. Like I said, you can find books that are called How to Lie with Statistics. Numerous people have written books with a title similar to that. But anyway, the point being is once exposed to the truth, you can't go back to the lies. You can't go back to believing the lies. Once you find out that, yes, there are satanic pedophiles, and yes, they have creeped into high places, and yes, they traffic children, you can't go back. I mean, you just can't turn away. You can't look away. Well, I guess you can. Some people have been able to do so, and the impetus is money, right? Give them large amounts of money and power, And these people that had Wiener's laptop, which had control files on them and had a file called life insurance in it. Yeah, these New York police officers were silenced. They should have come forward. Every single one of those cops, well, not every single one, I think 11 for 12, but I mean, whatever, the number's high of police officers that in the New York Police Department that got a hold of that laptop or knew that was on that, what was on that laptop, they're dead now. One after another, suicide or something happened to them. Should have just spoke. Many people in the FBI, CIA, and NSA knew what was on that laptop. That laptop alone is more than enough to put many, many people away. But instead, they went after Trump. Right? Now, why did they go after Trump? Because the whole apparatus and organization that they worked for is threatened by that pedophile, to get the masses understanding about pedophilia. Because as hard as they tried, and they tried hard for generations, right? Got you to shave your pubes, got you to everything, got you groomed and got you sexualized children. We got little kids that have no business being sexy. Like I got this little girl, I've known her since she was a small child. She's turned 13. I hadn't seen her for a while. I'm like, holy cow, she's turned into a little woman. She's only 13 years old. And she's talking about being sexy. I'm like, you got no business being sexy. You're 13, right? You be sexy when you're 18, not when you're 13. But see, that's normal now, right? Between Instagram and music videos and all our pop culture and so forth, kids are sexualized, right? Now, and then it's easy to slide down the road to, like I said, it gets, as you go up the scale, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and we decided that the cutoff is 18, it gets pretty iffy. Like a 17-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl, and they're both consenting and they're curious and so forth. Are we going to call that a crime? I'm not going to debate the issue, right? You guys want to play morals and you want to look at books and so forth, and all right, fine. But when you start going the other way, 13, 12, 11, 10, are you fucking kidding me? 9, 8, 7. No, we don't put up with that in our culture at all, right? Sex with children? No, that's just no. And they know it. They've done everything they could possibly do to try and get you to be like cool with that. And that, oh, it's just love is love. And, oh, you want to feel sorry for these poor people that are attracted to, they're just minor attracted persons and they can't help it. Fine. If they can't help it, then let's get them out of society by removing the life from their bodies so that they can come back another time and be judged on the other side by those that might have a better ability to judge them than we do. But we don't fucking have sex with children in this country, and they know it. And they are scared to fucking death that it's going to get into the consciousness, and it already is. It's too late. There's too many guys like me. There's too many guys like you that know for a fact that this traffic is going on. And change is going to come, my friends, right? Like I was so sick when they played that song for Floyd. Oh, my God. Anyway, but change is going to come, my friends. Change is coming. All manner of good change. But if you thought that we were going to get through this whole thing and not crack an egg and everything was going to be dandy and there weren't going to be casual, well, I'm sorry. That's not how change works with us humans. Right? We are in the chaos theory. It either collapses or it organizes at a higher level. I am in the higher level crowd. I'm telling you, we're going to come out the other side with all manner of stuff that seems like magic now. Because you were taught that it can't happen, right? You were taught that, oh, there's no such thing as perpetual motion. There's no such thing. Does that magnet defeat gravity? Right there? Yes, it does. All right. So just with magnets, you could be making devices that spin. And once you get spin, you make energy. There are numerous patents. And I have seen devices with my own fucking eyes that seems to work. And there's YouTube videos now, there used to be. I'm pretty sure they've been taken down, but there were quite a few YouTube videos that showed you devices that it's all about how you place the magnets, and once you get the spin going, it spins. Again, there was a bunch of Italians that figured out Italy. Go look up the 3 temples, by the way. There's a temple in Italy. There's a temple in London. There's a temple in DC. But anyway, in Italy, they figured out that using pure, right? We call it cold fusion. But if you use pure palladium, and see, that was the problem. They were getting palladium that was polluted. You use pure palladium, and you get more energy out than you put in. And I mean, that has been shown clearly numerous times, and they did everything they could to shut that down. Like I said, just wait. We're going to come out the other side smelling like roses. But fuck, right now things look a little problematic, and it is teetering, but the good guys are winning, right? And it's a lot of theater because do you remember when, I think if any of you guys are Q people, when Q basically just said we win, right? God wins, we win, right? Okay, well, we win. But now we got to explain the win to everybody. So there's going to be some theater, and there's going to be some fireworks, and there's going to be some excitement, and it's going to be a great show. But we win. The race, the human race, we win. We have been, I don't know what the right word is, but we have been under the control of those who are not good, who are the opposite of good, the dominion of those who are not good for the longest time. But now you're going to be allowed to claim your own dominion. Right? 322, look it up, Genesis 322. That's where that comes from. If you don't know where that comes from, where the 322 and the skull and bones and so forth, go look up Genesis 322. Just go read it to yourself and understand that's you we're talking about. You know the difference between right and wrong. You know the difference between good and evil. And you are either going to choose the left-hand path or you're going to choose the right-hand path. If you choose the left-hand path, that is the path that harms children. If you choose the right-hand path, it is the harder path and it is the longer path. It is the path that is fraught with obstacles and challenges, but it is the path that nurtures children. And if you've ever raised teenagers, you know that nurturing children can be a bit of a challenge on occasion, but you still nurture the children and you love your children, right? You love your children. A lot of you have, and I don't know about this group, but I mean, a lot of people have an issue with showing their children love and, like fathers, because they have a hard time saying I love you to their children. I never understood that. I tell both of my sons I love them every single day, right? Every time we see, like, aloha, right? Aloha means hello, aloha means goodbye, but best of all, it means I love you, right? And one of the things that I feel good about is my oldest boy, the last thing he said to his grandmother before she died was, I love you. Because I taught them that you don't know. You can't live like that. You can't live in fear, but you don't know whether you're going to see that person again. So the last thing you should say to them is, I love you, right? The last thing I said to my mother before she died was, I love you. Last thing she said to me was, I love you. I don't have that issue. A lot of people, one of the things I see at funerals is that people, they wish they would have been able to say, I love you one last time. The idea being is that you love your children. You need to figure out how to have that same feeling for everybody. Right? They are your brothers. They are your sisters. They are your mothers. Right? They are your fathers. Everybody. We're all there. If you take a look at the genome, right, and you start studying the mathematics, one, you're going to figure out that this thing was created. It's just like, did it come up from it's two things. It was created from a thing that evolved, yes. But the idea is that if you go back far enough, we all related. Because if you take a look at the last solar sneeze, there were very few of us that made it through that solar sneeze. So many people can trace if you go back far enough, to one source, to one woman or one man. And well, it's hard to trace to the man, but to the woman. And in many cultures, it's very few. We're all related, right? So you hate that other person because whatever the fuck it is you were told, because they're black and then you're white, or you're Asian and they're, right, my favorite, they're Chinese and you're Japanese. Oh, those people fucking hate each other. Make no mistake. I have been there. They have an animosity that runs deeper that I obviously don't understand. But that is a creation. They get you to hate each other so that you can kill each other so that they can control you, right? They got 4 ponies, and I'm going to end with it. That I told you I was going to end before, but this time for sure I'm going to end. But they only got 4 ponies. Understand that, I didn't bring it out. But that book, that is a book of law. That is a book of history. That is a book of basic tenets. Divide and conquer. Pestilence. Famine, that's what's coming. So get yourself 90 days of food. Get yourself 90 days of food and water. I'm going to say it again. Get yourself 90 days of food and water. Just in case, right? If that sounded like crazy talk before, now that the cities are fucking burning, and now that you see that the police are not coming out and stopping the looters and shooting the rioters and so forth, none of that's happening. And now that you see that the food distribution centers in your cities may have burned to the ground and you're going to have to travel just to get food, you might want to stock up on 90 days of food and then figure out how to grow food if you live in the suburbs or if you live, I mean, you know, there's empty lots in cities, but anyway, you need to get communities together. That's a great way to grow food together. There's a great way to express love for each other, is feed each other. But get yourself, famine's coming, my friends. And then the last thing is war. They're going to try and get us to guide, and I believe it'll be with the Chinese, not with the Russians. Like we're headed for war. And when you get the famine, when you think that things are shit now, wait till the niggas are hungry, right? And we all niggas now, right? If you think that, I think there's a picture I put these niggas right here where they're wearing their, oh, that was so offensive. I rarely get offended. I mean, like, I usually just laugh, but that was actually offensive, right? I mean, they fucking just look at us like, I mean, like that was like, oh, that was virtue signaling. That was basically you niggas are children, and look at us, right? On one knee with wearing the color. They don't even fucking know what those colors mean. Anyway, the idea being is that at this point, if this still sounds like crazy talk to you, I feel bad for you. Get your shit together. 90 days. Oh, really? No. 90 days of food together. And water. You got to have water. You got to be able to make water. You got to be able to purify water. You got to be able to, because a lot of the stuff, was going off. A lot of your people out there don't understand that you can't make a lot of these freeze-dried if you don't have clean water. So food, water, right? 90 days worth. You can't eat silver. You can't eat gold, right? And a lot of times people, when push comes to shove, they're not going to trade. If there's no food, they ain't trading you for silver or gold. So get yourself some food together, just in case. Hopefully, for fuck's sake, you don't need to use it. But it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. There's a really old prepper saying, right? So get yourself some food. I mean, just freeze dry, whatever. There's survival packages. I'm not going to tell. I mean, just get yourself some food, because that's the next thing that's coming. They're using the divide and conquer. They used the pestilence, and it was a bullshit. Because, okay, read Sun Tzu, right? Threat of attack, just as good as attack. So when it came to this virus, it wasn't a real 99.6%. All right, there's no pandemic with a freaking 99% survival rate. But the idea is that the threat of it was just as good as the attack. They got you to get inside. They got you to wear masks. They got you to be obedient. They got you to give up your First Amendment rights. Right? I mean, okay. So the next pony is famine. All right. Now, hopefully they don't pull that pony out of the stable and they get cut off at the pass by the alliance or by the Trumpers or by the whoever it is, because people understand that that's the next pony that's coming. But it might serve some purposes the same way that this whole pestilence and this whole rioting and this whole, exposing Antifa for what it is thing serves. So you've been warned ahead of time. Get yourself some fucking food, right? Basic staples, right? And then understand, try not to offer your children up on the altar of war, right? They're going to make whoever it is out to be the bad guys, and we're going to have all manner of reasons to go get them, and we're going to have all manner of reasons, right? And I know already that that's foolishness, right? My own family has sacrificed on the altar of war. I'm the only one going back generations and generations. I mean, fucking the Russian-Japanese war, I've got relatives that fought in that war. I mean, go back to the Civil War. I got relatives that fought in that war. Vietnam, Korea, World War II, World War I. Actually, I don't know about World War I. Spanish-American War, though. I mean, my family has been offered up children, and this is my sons. I told them, I will support you. You can be a Chinese acrobat for all I fucking care. That's a Japanese curse. But may your daughter run off with a Chinese acrobat, or may your son run off with a Chinese acrobat. Anyway. But musician, anything, any fucking thing, but I will not support you in a military career, right? Because, and I know a lot of people, it's unpatriotic and so forth. Really, it's fucking satanic pedophiles that have been getting us to fight with each other for generation after generation. One of the reasons why they hate Trump so much is because he's shutting down their ability to make billions, right? What was Vietnam? Vietnam was a transfer of wealth using the taxpayer-funded dollars and all that graft and greed and corruption and transferring it to the upper class, the people that made helicopters, the people that are involved in the military-industrial complex, and they did it on the back of your children, our children, my relatives, right? I have my family, Eagle Scout, dead, right? And go to a wall and his name is there, right? For fucking what? So that the wealthy could make money off of you. That's it. Every single war, that's all it is. Every war is a banker war. That includes the last good war, which apparently was World War II. Bullshit. All they did was make money. Afghanistan, how much money got funneled into, I mean, there's billions and billions and billions and billions and billions, thousands of billions of dollars have been spent on war between Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan. Did that all go into bullets and taking care of our troops, or did a lot of that get funneled away that you'll never see again? All right, war is coming. Before war is going to be famine. Before famine is where we're at right now with pestilence and rioting and civil unrest because of the divide and unconquer. Divide and unconquer, divide and conquer, right? So if you don't get any takeaway from this, because I've been going on for fucking almost 2 hours again, is get yourself some fucking food, right? Dry goods, stuff that doesn't spoil. Pasta is good. I have a page, but go look, and there's a great one. God, I can't remember the guy's name again. He's a Russian, because he went through it in Russia. But anyway, the 100 things that disappear first. That should be enough of a Google search to find it. But the 100 things that disappear first. Go check off the list and go get some of those things, right? But get yourself food. Get yourself prepared. And again, damn it, you're hoping that this is just insurance. You're hoping that the house doesn't burn down. But if it does burn down, you've got the insurance. And the insurance is being able to feed yourself and feed your children, and maybe having enough left over to help feed your neighbors and friends, and then getting a garden together. Again, a lot of you guys do not have the luxury that we have. 365, we can plant a garden here in Hawaii. A lot of places on the mainland, you're basically your growing season just about over. If your food isn't in the ground, right? Because every year my grandma used to put stuff up, right? You put stuff up, you can it, right? And you can it in glass jars. But I mean, every year we put stuff up. And she had, I mean, bread and butter pickles, and oh god, I miss my grandma's bread and butter pickles. But anyway, bread and butter pickles, and you know, canned butter and canned pickled eggs and honey and rhubarb and green beans and all kind of shit in jars that she had grown herself and put up just in case for the winter. Also, because you got to remember, a lot of people have hard winters in the Midwest and so forth. Okay, that technology is coming back. People are starting to figure out you need that. You know, people used to know how to can stuff. Remember, and I'm so old. I remember we didn't have the cool canning stuff now, where the things seal. You had to put a layer of wax in there, so you had canning wax, and so you melted the wax, and then you put it on a layer on top of your preserves, like jams and jellies, or but particularly if you had like stuff that was in water, like tomatoes or green beans or sugar snap peas or whatever, you'd put a layer of wax over that, and then you'd can it. Anyway. Now we have technology that makes it where you don't have to put the wax there. All you need is the right jars and so forth. You listen to them pop, they're sealed, and they'll last for quite a while. Anyway, get yourself some food. Did I say it enough times? Get yourself some food. This is the next thing I see coming. Right? I like Fiji because in Fiji, that's not going to be an issue because the people already grow their own food, and it's already, all the villages are planted and they trade among each other. And like I said, every day, 365, because they're also in the tropics, you can go to the market, and there's going to be dalo, kalo, taro, very nutritious root plant that we eat. We make poi out of it. They don't make so much poi down there. It's interesting. And anyway, but the idea is that farmers markets are always going to be able to buy food. Well, where you're at, that's not where it's at, is it? Well, where you're at, you can't just buy food, can you? Or you can't just go down and get stuff that's grown locally, especially if you're in a city, especially if you're in the burbs. There isn't a farmer's market. There isn't a thriving farm. And see, that was one of the things that happened inadvertently, I think, is one, Bill Gates and his vaccines got exposed when they realized that this fucking eugenicist was going to solve our problems for us. And then two, farmers are having that issue because they're trying to bring famine So they were dumping milk, and they were getting to the point where they were, throwing away food because they didn't have the demand from the markets, or not the markets, the restaurants and so forth in Hawaii. A lot of our farmers, we got no tourists in the hotels, so a lot of that stuff wasn't being grown. Price of food should have come down because anyway. I won't go there, but the idea is that a lot of people were going directly to the farmers, and a lot of apps and a lot of other places where people were figuring out. Let's see, you have food, I want food. You have milk, I want milk. I'll bring my own container and buy milk from you. I'll bring my own box and fill it up with eggplant and tomatoes and green beans and whatever stuff that you guys grow, and I'll buy it from you directly instead of going to a store, right? That's happening, but it's a slow progress. Like I said, we're gonna come out the other side of this smelling like roses. Everything's gonna be fucking awesome, but there's gonna be some cracked eggs. Don't be one of the eggs that gets cracked. Eat the souffle, and be of good cheer. Don't give these fuckers your loosh. Right? And if you don't know what that is, go look into it, because it's a thing. It's an absolute fucking thing. So be of good cheer. Keep a smile on your face. Look at the ridiculousness of what's happening around you. Don't be afraid. They want you afraid. They want you hungry. They want you in fear. They control you that way. Right? You can't keep your wits about you if you're afraid and in fear and turning on the TV and looking at all that. I mean, goddamn, there's all kind of destruction going on in the United States right now. It's just crazy. There's places burning I never thought I'd see burning. Right? Because those mayors did not do anything to stop the violence, did not do anything. Sometimes you need force, right? But that's played itself out also. But now you see, were the cops there? Why were you paying all those taxes? No? Were the cops there to defend your downtown? Were the cops there to keep not even property damage? Right? That's one of the biggies. There's only, like I said, once you get down to it, there's only like 20 laws that you can break that and criminal property damage is one of them. But anyway, they didn't do anything to stop that. So why were you paying all that tax now? And why were you depending on the men in blue to take care of you? Right? You need to be able to take this used to be a nation of men that took care of their own and took care of themselves. And having food is one of the most basic things. Being able to feed your kids. Right? So you figure it out. I don't care how you figure it out. But you figure it out. Right? You got to sell your fucking car and get a cheaper car. Take the money, the difference, and stock up some food. Whatever. You get creative. There's a way to do it, but you better stock some fucking food. At least 90 days. Right? At least 90 days. And water. Don't forget the water. There's life straws. There's all manner of things that your Berkey filters and all kind of other filters where you can filter your water. And again, don't depend on water coming out of your tap. Right? You got to think about this. And then take a weekend with your children and just pretend. Right? Because now you can do it. Now you can pretend. You don't want to get to the point, right? Because we've had it here in Hawaii where we ain't got no electricity because the hurricane blew out our, right? So there's no electricity. But now you have electricity. You have running water. Go for a weekend, Friday to Monday. Get your family together. Get your friends and family together. And just do a drill, all right? You're going to pretend that the water doesn't come out of the tap. That means that you can't just flush the toilet. You're going to have to fill the toilet. So go to the fucking street and turn your thing off. Right, so no water comes into your house. Go to the breaker box and shut it off. All right, now you got no water and no power. See what you can do for a weekend. 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you can turn it on Monday. Right, just do a drill like that and see how it works. See if you're ready. Can you even fucking boil water for your coffee in the morning? And if you can't, then you need to make the adjustments and then go for and see. And that's a nice thing. It's like, I've pretended to be homeless before because I went and hung out with those people just to see. But not fair because at any given time, I could get in a cab and get out of there. Right? Okay, at any given time, you can go turn the water back on and turn the electricity back on and, fuck it, I've had enough of this, right? But the idea is, okay, so then you make your adjustments and then you make and then plan for it. And then another weekend, a couple of weekends away, you're camping in your own house, right? No water, no electricity. Live. See if you can do it for 3 days. If you can't do it for 3 days, how the fuck are you going to do it when it's indefinite and you really don't know if the water's coming back on or the electricity's coming back on? And again, you're hoping this never fucking happens. right? You're hoping that this is just a drill and that this is just, right? And it's just a fun thing to do with your family, just, just to see. But there is a chance that this actually happens, that you can't just drive down to the store and get food, and you can't just turn on the tap and water comes out that's clean and drinkable. You understand that that's a privilege that most people on this planet that dream of. Right? The water comes out of your tap by law at 7 pH, and it's got so much chlorine in it. There's no bacteria. You can drink the shit, and it's not going to kill you. There's other places that I've been where if you drink the stuff out of the tap, you're going to sit on the toilet for days. And I had a girlfriend that didn't understand the concept. She thought she was Mexican and all that, and she got sick and I didn't, because I just practiced some basics, right? But anyway, the idea being is that here we have that luxury. So shut those luxuries off and see if you can survive just for a fucking weekend. And then if you can't, make adjustments. But get yourself some food, man. It's coming. That is the other pony. And then expect war. And this stuff isn't happening next week, right? Famine isn't coming to the United States next Friday, right? War isn't coming to the United States in 2020, but between 2020 and 2027, there's a fucking excellent chance. Again, get yourself some food. Okie dokie, I'm done. I've been talking for way too long. So and watch Amazing Polly. She's awesome. Anyway, but like Amazing Polly says, I'm going to stop talking now. E pluribus unum, right? Not their e pluribus unum, our e pluribus unum. Together, right? Build yourself community. More of us together, working together, makes everything easy. Ma lama lama, right? Many hands make the work easy. So e pluribus unum, Crime Stoppers. Educate yourself, educate others, and I'll talk to you soon.